Hey everybody, it's Deji here. With me I'm joined by Jovah and Teo. Say hi, boys.
Hello.
Howdy.
So, Dej, I've noticed something. You and me have had quite a knack for making predictions that have come true. From me predicting Joker, Sephiroth for Smash, as well as a lot of other things like the news of Breath of the Wild 2 or whatnot. And meanwhile, here you are, Mr. Leaker, calling some things yourself.
Yeah, now people are thinking I'm some sort of industry insider.
Your uncle works at Nintendo.
Don't you see, Dej? It's brilliant. You and me together, we could be a leaker who actually gets stuff right, unlike a certain one we could mention but won't.
But that's not here. So, E3 is stuck
back.
Action. Yeah,
for change, which means we don't have, at least for our own channel, that we don't have to commentate on old crappy E3 conferences this year. Hooray!
Okay. You can't lie though, Teo. You gotta admit, it was fun looking back.
A good
on
experiment,
some old
but they get to be a bit more inebriated by actual new announcements.
And since the Dragon Quest Direct presentation, whatever that was, E3 season has officially begun.
Yes, apparently Sega have even started their own new particular direct thing with Sonic called Sonic Central. Here's hoping that we'll get more of those. But this E3 is looking to be quite interesting because a lot of companies have confirmed that they're getting their own shows. Not just the usual old guard, minus Sony, who
honestly, Jovah, it's actually far easier to tell.
E3.
It's honestly much easier to just tell which will not show up, which are probably free. Sony, Konami, and EA. EA, I get the idea might show up in a bit of smaller capacity, like say a brief mention. We know that they're about to, by the time we're recording, they're about to announce their new Battlefield game, but that's pretty much it. They might get like one minor spot at say the Microsoft and Bethesda conference, who knows. We'll have to see.
It is a bit weird because apparently EA are doing an EA Play, which is more or less counted as part of E3.
But it's in
even
July.
Though it's in July 22nd, so I don't know what to think. I'll just say this though, for Sony, I really don't get why they're still just ditching E3. Like, I get it, E3 may have issues.
It doesn't cost money, and apparently, the reason why Nintendo does this is because Doug Bowser has some affiliation with that company.
Not just that, I get the idea that Sony might still be pissed off in how their last major E3 was received.
Gee, I wonder whose
that
fault
was their own fault. That was their own fault.
Why did you think having have it take place in two different areas at the same time was a smart idea? Hey, let's have a tent to celebrate The Last of Us 2, and let's go. Oh my god! But anyway, let's
we're not here for the past. We're here for the present, technically.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you?
On a scale of 1 to 10, on the one hand, I'm not quite sure if I want to go in for a full 10 because I do know that a lot of companies are still trying to go on recovery after, the virus, as some would call it. But, on the other hand, I am still hyped to see news renders. But, so is the E3 conference building going to be of use, like people can still go there, or is this all just strictly a digital
No, I think
event?
it's strictly just digital. But we have to see if the events pre-recorded are just like the Skype call that Microsoft did once for one of their presentations.
Can we not have that, please? Look, I'm gonna be real, I feel like everyone should just copy the Nintendo Direct formula.
Pretty much.
Just
want
get
them to
their
do it
announcements
right.
out of the way, please.
Which, funnily enough, it looks like we're going to get a look at all the companies having their try at it, seeing as how, again, this is, for the first time in E3, that's otherwise all digital. Okay, but going back to the scale, I'd say that I'm at a hearty 8 on a scale of 1 to 10. I am excited to once again be getting E3, and hey, now most people can experience the way we've had to, digital and in our rooms. But, I am willing to believe that there will be some hearty announcements. So what do you guys
If you're asking me, that's just simply a 7. I'm very interested, in a more just, warmer way, because announcements are still good to see, but I'm just not expecting anything superlative. That's pretty much it.
for me, my scale is a 6. I'm looking forward to the events, but I know due to current circumstances that's going on with the world, we're starting to see the impact of how COVID has affected game development. Biggest examples: God of War Ragnarok, War name and development, it has been delayed. It has been delayed to next year. And honestly, King of Fighters 15, a game I was looking forward to this year,
also has been delayed.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Not to mention all the stuff that's still stuck in vaporware territory, like Metroid 4 and Bayonetta 3.
And some certain Ubisoft stuff, which I'll mention when we get to the Ubisoft segment of this show. There you go. 6, 7, and 8 are our scores. So, Dej, why don't you fill in the audience on the format of today's conversation?
Okay. Hey guys, Deji here. Just want to point out a quick disclaimer. I had to cut out a lot of stuff because most of the stuff that we talked about was already outdated by this point, and it was pretty much dragging on. So, sorry if things come off a bit awkward. Bye. Next is the most cringiest events of last year, Summer Games Fest 2021.
Okay, so this is
the one with Joe Keighley.
Yes.
Okay. Now this is finally something we can actually sink our teeth into more. Like, Summer Games Fest is, okay, it was a mixed bag last year. On the one hand, you could tell what they were trying to do. They were essentially trying to be the replacement for E3.
Considering that E3 got caught with its pants hanging.
Mm-hmm.
So, on the one hand, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that they did have a lot put on their shoulders, and, well, they just were overwhelmed by trying to pace it all. And even still, we didn't get some of the best announcements, but I would argue that we got some noticeable stuff. So, okay, so now that Summer Games Fest is apparently a sort of a part of E3, what do you guys think? Do you think that this event will live up to it?
I distinctly remember that Sony, I think, is going to show up in that in some minor capacity. So we'll have to see what they want to show there, because we just got a direct tied to Horizon Forbidden West. We got news regarding God of War Tempted Title Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, and...
That's not coming out.
Sorry?
I said they ain't coming out this year.
Yeah, that was about to mention. We just got a bunch of news tied to some releases, including the new games that Pixel Opus is making, the makers of Concrete Genie. So I don't know what they can actually talk that they don't already know. Maybe a new trailer for Gran Turismo 7, I don't know.
Maybe a first look at God of War.
I guess, but remember, we're just having a bit of a sour moment because, of course, with Twitter being the best place on earth, had people lashing out against Santa Monica and having to Cory Balrog stepping down and saying, guys, this was my fault in the first place for announcing a 2010 release, even though it's not really, it was just a matter of circumstances. And once again, Cory Balrog is kind of bending the knee to the audience.
Okay, so this is one thing I do need to say about two things. One, stop harassing developers when it comes to delays. This stuff happens. We're literally in a worldwide crisis. Relax.
Or even better, stop using Twitter altogether.
Well, okay. To be fair, do not harass developers.
You can bully corporations when they do bad things. Just don't bully individual employees.
And okay. If they do blatantly lie about something, sure, call them out, but don't take it too far in that regard. And
another thing I need to say about this Summer Games Fest, I understand what Jeff is doing, because he wants video games to be treated as a successful medium. But
hopefully his Game Awards show this year is better than last.
It's not even that, Jovah. See, Jeff, I will start, respecting a bit more the work you do the moment you rise up your head from the desk of Team Sweet and Epic Games. That will be convincing enough for me.
So okay, with Summer Games Fest, Is it mainly just Sony stuff we can expect from it, or would you say that we
There's
Jeff
a list, but I don't want to spend 30 minutes on this.
I get the idea. Jeff is good at multitasking in that kind of way, so we can expect their different variation of selection of things. So
I'm going to say that I expect this Summer Games Fest to be an improvement over the last one, since now they have more experience. That said, do you think that will warrant a live viewing or sort of a posthumous one?
If it's interesting enough, a post viewing for me, but
pretty much.
Yeah. It's like I think he's getting a celebrity guest for this.
We'll see.
Anyway, next up will be Koch Prime Time.
No, but there are a couple minor predictions that I want to see. Maybe since this year is Crash's 25th anniversary, you think we'll see an announcement of a new game?
Okay.
It depends on which stream you would think it would be in.
Yeah, I was about to mention. I did mention it in my... I was mentioning something on the SSMB. I wonder if it might show up for the Nintendo Direct. I don't know, I have this kind of feeling that whatever Crash-related thing might happen for the Nintendo Direct.
Well, we'll save that for when we get to Nintendo.
Yeah,
I will say this though.
But to mention this, because now apparently the fans of both Crash and Spyro are in a panic about the situation with the studio's Activision. Not for nothing, but nothing is stopping Activision of subcontracting a completely different studio that is not.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Why would you had competent developers working on something that people like, so why would you just, alright, so your reward, you're going to Blizzard, and your reward, you're in the Call of Duty mine.
Okay, explaining the past of the situation with Vicarious Vision, I genuinely believe that the railroading of them was generally just to help Blizzard instead of, depriving Vicarious Vision of their talent somewhere else.
I thought they merged.
Okay,
yeah, they merged them in.
I don't know the extent. The point still being that my thought process, that is what I think the thought process was, they saw that Vicarious Vision did well with both Crash and Tony Hawk, so they put them to actually make it good work on a sector that was clearly not working, aka Blizzard, because remember, their Warcraft 3 remaster, whatever, fucking sucked. So, they clearly wanted to double down for something like, say, Diablo 2, and clearly they wanted a developer that could manage to do it. So, I'm already the first to say that it might be a bit of a loss, but at least they're employing their talent to do something good about it.
I'll just say this to you. I would have agreed with you if they hadn't merged Vicarious into Blizzard. Here's how they should have done it. Just say Vicarious will be helping out here and there, but let Vicarious still be their own thing so that they'd be free to work on Crash, Tony Hawk, or whatever here and there.
Which is instead what's happening with Toys for Bob. They just did mention apparently that Toys for Bob is just helping, the Call of Duty Warzone.
Due to the backlash.
No, I get that, but again, the fans are treating it more like there's no way out of that. And sure, there are studios currently trapping in that, but like you just said, Jovah, they didn't really say that they merged the teams just specifically for the development of that.
The problem with that one is that there have been employees who have spoken on Twitter who hint that this may be a permanent thing, and also we have past history to go off of. This is usually the pattern with Activision. Now, granted, maybe they might break it, but it has always been company works on this or that. Oh, this next installment didn't sell as well as the past one. Activision say, oh, we're just putting them on Call of Duty for a bit, and then they stay on Call of Duty for the rest of their lives, pretty much.
But Deji also has a point. We're still digressing a bit too much. My point is, I'm expecting, yes, something Crash-related. We'll see where it happens.
I will say my 2 cents. If I were to expect something Crash-related, I do hope that it might be that Crash to Insanity thing, because Lex Lang has been interestingly quirky about that.
Okay, so I can confirm that that's not happening.
Because he mentioned, maybe it is to Insanity?
Yeah, he said hashtag Crash to Insanity, hashtag not. So it's like, he wouldn't...
Okay.
Jovah, you know as well as I do, NDAs are a thing.
Yes. However, NDAs can come in different variations and whatnot. The fact that he denied a Twinsanity thing could be hints that it could be one. And yeah, I know
the
that's
fact that he denied that a Twinsanity thing is happening means that it's happening. What?
Well, surprisingly,
I wish I could live in your world.
Surprisingly, Dead, it has happened before that people involved with the game have denied it existed, only for a surprise, it to have existed. Like, trust me, if it were almost any other industry, I'd be right with you there, but the games industry is one where PR talk can literally be lying at times, depending. So I'll just say this, it's not outside the realm of possibility. I'm not doubling down and saying that it's absolutely gonna be it, but it's a possibility, and I would really like it to be the case. Anyway, let's move on from Summer Games Fest to move on to Koch Primetime Media. This is hosted by Koch Media, who operate Deep Silver.
Expect something Deep Silver. Hopefully we have an actual fucking release date for Dead Island 2.
Oh, no. They said that they just recently said that Dead Island and Time Splinters aren't going to be there.
True, no. Because
I just want to give reference to the audience. Dead Island 2 was announced in E3 of 2014.
Yeah, it's like a bad joke at this point.
Like, I'm not like big. I don't care, but it's just. Oh, also Saint Row and Metroid aren't going.
There you go. Yeah, I just found the news. Yeah, Dead Island Syndrome, Metro and Time Splitter will not be present. Deep Silver still owns a couple of things. They were the one who published Mighty Number 9.
Do you guys have any prime time predictions for this
from THQ Nordic? Dark. What's the name of that one series that people like? Darksiders. The Siders. Darksiders, maybe.
I don't, but that's the thing. It's strictly just Deep Silver. I don't think they're gonna show up.
It's Deep Silver. I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah. Like I said, Koch Primetime. That's Koch Media, which is the runners of Deep Silver. So, yeah, I'm gonna safely say that's probably not gonna be one of our live commentaries for E3.
The next one on our list is
Devolver Digital.
Yeah.
Okay.
The audience doesn't know about this, but for years we actually did try to comment on their conferences, but for technical difficulties or something else, we kept not managing to do it. It's like a curse or something.
Maybe it's a blessing in disguise.
I don't know. I think actually localizing Metal Wolf Chaos was a bold, in these.
It's cool. Their announcements are cool. I just feel like the satire.
I disagree. I actually really like how they take the piece out of all the aspects of E3.
Me too.
I'm just tired of that self-awareness humor.
Okay. Essentially, Devolver Digital has been having this running storyline about this crazy woman who has been giving these very satirical E3 showings, which are obviously pre-recorded. Me, personally, I do get a kick out of the satire. In fact, in some cases, it's very cathartic given how full of themselves other E3 shows were getting here and there. Now, granted, it wasn't for everyone, and I will admit the first time they did it was a bit confusing at first. But, that said, they have still given they have given suitable announcements, and heck, Devolver Digital have been pumping out some pretty good games here and there. So, what are our predictions for the show?
I just wait.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll find something to laugh. That's my prediction.
So, finally, we get to some of the real good action.
Now it's time for us to die. Teo, take the floor. Ubisoft forward.
Oh. Well, okay. Okay, let me put it this way, the more elegant way I can. The three games that I might want to expect from this are something from Ubisoft Milan that might be similar to Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, because that was a genuine surprise, even despite the cringy nature of Rabbids, The remake of the first Prince of Persia, which got delayed probably just for the sake of,
Wait, that was the first one?
Well, okay,
Yes.
the first of the Sand saga, because technically speaking, Deji is correct. There was the original timeline that itself got a couple of remakes, but this
Well,
one
I
in
just assumed you were
particular,
talking about the first of the Sands trilogy.
yeah. Well, I need to be specify nonetheless.
Fair enough.
Which is still done by Ubisoft India. It actually did got delayed. It was supposed to actually come out,
But
winter
everyone
last
got-
year, actually.
Yeah, but everyone
people
didn't like how it looked like, so it was like...
Okay, I didn't think it was probably the best looking thing ever, but I don't think it was that terrible. Still, I'm okay with the delay if the product can satisfy everyone.
Wait, Teo, do you feel like we're ever gonna get a follow up to that 2008 Prince of Persia game?
We did on the Nintendo DS, Prince of Persia: The Fallen King. Keep the pitching at yes. Mind you,
Was
it
that
doesn't.
actually a
It doesn't.
sequel?
Yes, it is a sequel. It doesn't conclude the story, but it continues it.
Oh my god.
Oh, right. So when are we going to get around to doing that for the channel?
I'll give it a try. Remember, it's a Prince of Persia game that uses the stylus for everything. So
Oh, joy.
it's the same thing for the Nintendo DS version of The Forgotten Sands, but that's a story for another time as well. But let me get back on point. The remake of the first Sands of Time is my second expectation. The third one, even if I'm not convinced as the other years, is Beyond Good and Evil 2. Because, again, I'm still interested in some degree of the game, but the things that came out regarding Michel Ancel really did struck a blow. And nowadays I'm more like, well, yeah, I want to see where the plot is going. I'm sure the gameplay will be fine, but it will just not really be the same thing. It will leave a sour taste in my mouth.
I don't want to be mean here, but I think that game is pretty much going to be rebooted.
I mean, we'll see what happens, I guess.
I'll just say this. Here's my big worry with Beyond Good and Evil 2. I fear that game's going to come out, and that's going to be it. Problem. It's being marketed as a prequel when from what I know, fans mainly wanted a sequel.
Because originally it was even supposed to be as the first teaser in 2008 was supposed to as a sequel, actually. And mind you, Jade's voice actress even died in the meantime. That's sinking too. My point still is that I basically care to see only these three games. Sure, the Just Dance dancing sequence would be fun, to see all the other time in its weird, bizarre, and potentially cringy manner, But aside from that, I just don't want another Tom Clancy masturbation run. The good news
that's gonna happen.
Okay. I would be more interested if a new Splinter Cell actually shows up, because of all the Tom Clancy stuff, Splinter Cell is the one that I care the most about. But if it's another Ghost Recon, another Rainbow Six, or
another Tom Clancy crossover that's relegated to mobile.
Okay, that is a bit more specific, Jovah. I'm talking about actual recurring series. But the good news is that Far Cry 6 is actually about to come out anyway, so we shouldn't really expect anything related on that IP. I'm
just so surprised that Splinter Cell basically died.
You just left it there.
It's like, that was basically a huge franchise for Ubisoft. I've never played it, but
it's not even that. It's even a missed opportunity, because with now Metal Gear Solid kind of out of the picture because of Konami, it would be the perfect opportunity. They made fun of it
in a Far Cry DLC.
That too. It's not like we're forgetting it exists. They just don't want a new video game for the time being.
And not only that, it's a Tom Clancy game. Like, you guys have been all up.
Homage. They referenced that.
Yeah, but let me also put it this way. Watchdogs Legion just came out, so I'm not expecting them to announce a new game tied to that. Immortal Phoenix Rising also has been recently released, so maybe we'll get a trailer for another DLC episode, because we had 2 or 3 in program, and we already released 2. So maybe there's gonna be that. But aside from that, I don't know. Like Skull and Bones is definitely not showing up for the fourth time in a row at this point.
Fifth, I believe, and apparently they're restarting development on it again. What was that?
And you people say that Prime 4's development is in trouble.
Oh, no.
Not you. I'm just saying
I
people.
actually potentially am, but no, the other thing that I really don't want to see showing up is another sport game.
I thought you were going to say another Rabbids game, and not just like Mario plus Rabbids, but a pure Rabbids game.
We'll have to see how that turns out either. But every time Ubisoft announces a sport-like game, like the other year with the Extreme Sports, or the other year before with the Winter games, which apparently did cause even some controversy because someone died in the development team while they were actually, doing the mocap stuff. But every time their trailer, their sport game looks so dull.
And
really
they spend
dull.
so long on them too. Remember
racing...
2016 Z3 where they spent forever on that Steep project?
That's what I was mentioning. The racing stuff instead is at the very least a bit more interesting. Stuff like the crew. So if there is something like that, I'm fine. But basically, to sum it up, I'm expecting something that may be interesting just a little, but I'm expecting a lot of dullness and potentially a couple of bad stuff. When it comes to Assassin's Creed, we'll have to see. Valhalla has been released already, and as I think already almost all its DLC is released, if I recall correctly. I'm not sure if it's already enough the time to announce already a new title. We'll see what happens. But that's pretty much it for me.
For me, Ubisoft, okay, I've said it before and I'll say it again. For quite a while, ever since 2011, Ubisoft were slowly turning into the clown of E3. Not necessarily the worst, but the one that you could expect to laugh at some of their idiotic shenanigans here and there. Then, starting with 2015, it seemed like they were just really going downhill. They were becoming a more generic company, obsessed with exploiting Tom Clancy after the man is already dead. And what a shock! When he was dead, the games with his name on it weren't doing as well without his involvement.
Okay, I remember. It's a bit later than what you mentioned, but I do remember that Rainbow Six Siege actually is still played these days, and there is an actual dedicated community to it. It's just that it's still
about games
that dull.
Yeah, I'm talking mainly about games that came out after, but yeah, Rainbow Six Siege went on for way long, and you know what? Kudos to the community. I don't personally see it. That said, Ubisoft have gone into some really dumb projects. The Division and The Division 2, which is one of the most infamous blunders, with a game hyped up for years, only to turn out to be at best, and then they tried to salvage it with DLC. That was until E3 2017, where, I kid you not, Ubisoft's E3 was one of the best E3s of that year. It not only was a good turnaround for them, but they had amazing hits, stuff that looked great. They were finally taking the feedback. Sure, E3 2018 wasn't as great, but still good. It seemed like they were really learning. And then E3 2019 happened, and to paraphrase from our old commentary, they were partying like it was 2015 again. Because all the problems and then some came about, which arguably only made things even worse here. Ever since then, Ubisoft have been hemorrhaging talent. Their projects have been delayed even before the pandemic, which just suggests that they're not being handled well. And they are not good with communication. They do not give good reasons for people to have faith in their products. And, wouldn't you know, this is one of those rare cases where it's actually hitting them in the pocketbooks. Because they lost their position on the rankings for finances to companies like CD Projekt Red. And CD Projekt Red.
I don't know, man, dude.
That's
its own can of worms.
Oh, don't worry, Dad. CD Projekt Red have gotten in trouble themselves and are losing money for that little blunder too. But regardless, about Ubisoft, they have lost tons of faith and tons of money. They're in a point of desperation. They need to turn out a big hit, but I am not expecting a big hit. Hell, I was excited for Skull and Bones back when that game was supposed to come out in 2018. And now, as of 2021, apparently it is literally nothing but Skull and Bones that game is. They started development again.
Let me put it like this, what I told you. Skull and Bones will come out the day they stop adding content to Sea of Thieves.
So what you're saying is that they're trying to be bigger and better than Sea of Thieves. Like, all you have to do is just release proper and have more than Sea of Thieves had, because...
All people wanted was a pirate game that was based off the best part of Assassin's Creed 4.
Yes, and it seemed like they were doing that. Why is it all of a sudden so hard to make a game based off of that? What are they doing with it? They're not transparent enough with it. And it's frustrating. Like, Teo has Beyond Good and Evil to be frustrated with. I have Skull and Bones.
I have one thing to be frustrated with. I'll go once you're done.
I think I know who that is, but yeah. Basically, here are my predictions with the showing here. Ubisoft once again apologizing because there's once again been even more controversy since the last time they tried to apologize. So expect a piano-ridden bit with the president of Ubisoft sharing his prayers and hopes with us here and there. Maybe we'll see more about Far Cry 6, which Ubisoft has sworn up and down will not have any political messages behind it.
Actually, I thought it was kind of the opposite. They were actually, blatantly saying that, yes, it will actually be political.
No, Teo. They've taken a stand saying that it won't be political.
Oh my God,
and of course,
I am so sick and tired of games saying that. If you're covering war or whatever or anything,
it's a Fidel Castro analogy, for Christ's sake. You're gonna be political.
It's political. Now, what you're saying is that are you trying to send a message, or are you just exploring this for fun? That would be better instead of no, this is not political.
This is the problem with Ubisoft. They
it's not just Ubisoft. Activision does said the same thing with Call of Duty. I'm like, what are you talking about?
There you go. Articles from 3 days ago for stuff like Rock Paper Shotgun. The narrative director does confirm, and they says that the game story is political.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. He did confirm it would be political, but that was after Ubisoft swore up and down that it wouldn't be political, and everyone called them out for their crap on that.
Actually, no, that was the Division 2, but it happened last year.
Oh, that's a different thing.
Yes. Anyway,
regardless, my predictions are maybe we'll get the table scraps of whatever's going on with Beyond Good and Evil 2. Hopefully, Prince of Persia news. I don't even dare hope for a new Rayman game at this point.
That's why you didn't even bother to mention. Maybe a new Driver. Does anybody even remember Driver?
Enjoy your burnout.
That's EA.
Yeah, I know.
I guess anything else to predict is something involving cars. I mean, not to the extent where they'll display a car,
this
but
time it's in space.
You know what I missed? Whatever that car racing game was that had you dropping from blimps or whatnot, that looked interesting, and I haven't seen that since, I think it was 2016 or whatever. But yeah, I just don't have much to predict with Ubisoft because they have not given much. We'll probably get more news on Far Cry 6 here and there. So, yeah, that's a thing. I do wonder, was Watchdogs Legions a success?
It just came out and went. People were okay. Not a disaster, not probably a huge magnitude, it's just okay.
So it's pretty much like Watchdogs 2 when that game came and went.
Pretty much. It's a shame because, like we mentioned, we did kind of like the mechanics introduced in it. I even saw an actual live demo at an event that I participated.
It is kind of a shame that game only ended up being okay because... Look, for all as much as I don't like Ubisoft currently, Watch Dogs 3 did look pretty epic. It's a game where you can assassinate people as an old British lady. But alas.
What do you think, Deji?
Alright, so this is... I don't really play a lot of Ubisoft games, but my issue with them is... Why is a lot of their output just open world games?
oversaturation and following what they consider to be a trend.
They struck success with Far Cry 3 back then, and then they decided to just steamroll with that.
Yeah, it's like their output is either open world games or a shooter open world game.
It's because Ubisoft felt that they pioneered open world stuff with stuff like. They maybe they don't feel that way, but it certainly comes off like they feel they did, because ever since stuff like Far Cry... Ever since with Far Cry 3, it feels like they've wanted to turn everything into that, even when it really doesn't need it. In the past, it did constantly net them riches, but apparently if their financial tuck is anything to go off of, it's wearing off even. And yet, for some reason, they still do it. It's like Ubisoft just are stuck in that mentality, literally. Don't get me wrong, I get that games like those still have their fans, but there's only so much you can do before even the most diehard of fans will get tired.
Meanwhile, they have a perfectly great engine for 2D, showcasing the UbiArt engine, and they're sitting their fucking asses on top of it. Last game they did for the 3DS, and God knows how many years ago.
This is the reason the whole Michelle and Self in the basement thing was a meme, before we knew the real circumstances. But regardless, Ubisoft are infamous for having some incredibly, not only great IPs, but some amazing engines that they could use,
UbiArt.
but just choose not to.
UbiArt.
Because... What was that, Deji?
UbiArt.
That's what I just mentioned it. So again, that's another thing. Supposedly we ideally have a Child of Light sequel in the works because of what the director posted, but that was so long ago.
Nothing.
It was I get the idea that the project might have been developed, but if it doesn't show up here, it might have been probably quietly cancelled at this point.
That's another thing with Ubisoft. Out of the big companies, they are the most consistent with announcing big things and then just having those big things vanish into thin air for various reasons.
But continue that just because, we're already being too long here.
Yeah.
Okay. This isn't going to be an hour, I said. I should have known us. But, look, there's only two things I want. A sequel to Mario plus Rabbids, or whatever that Milan team is doing, because I know that they have potential, and if they could do good work with that game and XCOM style Mario game that nobody knew, that everyone thought was going to suck when that first got leaked, they can practically do anything. So I have faith in them, please. But also, it might be a sequel, because earlier in the year, the Rabbids Twitter account changed its name to Mario Rabbids, but people caught wind of that and noticed it, and then they changed it back to just Rabbids. But they still have Rabbid Mario as the poster boy, as their profile pic. So it might be that.
Possibly.
Yeah, and hopefully it fixes the issues that people have with the game, you can only have Mario and at least one rabbit on your team, instead of, trying to mix it up because it's an RTS-like style.
Okay, if I remember correctly, the DLC themed after Donkey Kong did spice things up on that front.
I do think that obviously they would include more characters. I'd say they'd probably include Rosalina and Pauline. Pauline seems to be getting the Rosalina treatment, as in, ever since Odyssey, now they're putting her in everything as, practically part of the family.
Yeah.
That being said...
Who knows?
I
said, who knows?
That said, here's hoping that they include Daisy if we're getting a sequel.
Yeah. But also, I want a new Rayman game. Please!
Now, okay. Now I'm going to ask you, Dej. How much is this your own actual solid prediction, you think this will happen, versus it's just a request?
It's just a request. The Rabbids thing is a solid prediction.
I can't believe a Rayman game can be done without the aid of Michel and Sal.
Rayman 3 exists!
Well, yeah, and even if it's not the most liked game, it's still a solid one. It cannot be denied. So
And
it
it's
can
like
be done, especially because while Origins and Legends were well received, people would want to see Rayman go back in the third dimension.
I mean,
That would be a good
2D,
opportunity.
3D, I don't care, but it's like, you know what will be cool? If you remade Rayman 2. 3D platformers are on the rise again. Try capitalizing on that. The only reason why Legends underperformed is because they delayed the game by 7 months, and they released it around the same time frame as GTA 5. Oops.
Oof. It's not even that. It's the fact that, like, it can a new Rayman game these days, like you said, it still can work, whatever remake or new title. But again, yeah, okay. I now remember. Like what last year or the other one was Rayman's what?
Last year was the 25th anniversary.
And they did nothing.
No. We got something. A Rabbids mobile game. That wasn't even that. Oh, that was only in France, I believe.
Like, this is just sad. It's really sad. Rayman is supposed to be your own Mario, the Mega Man, what Mega Man is to Capcom, stuff like that, and you treat him way worse than this comparison that I just did. Like,
yikes, like that. And trust me, given what you're comparing it to, that is saying a lot.
Like, seriously, give back what is supposed to be your mascot, the thing that made you arrive where you are. Give it back its dignity. Fucking deserves it.
Yes.
Honestly, at this point, I wonder if Ubisoft will eventually get to a point where they'll just sell off Rayman eventually.
They won't.
Because they clearly don't care.
It's still brand. They can just slap the name.
How many companies actually sell off their IPs?
Also, remember, supposedly we're getting like a Netflix cartoon,
Yes.
but we haven't seen jack shit.
Oh.
Maybe that will show up. Who knows?
I mean, we're also getting a Netflix show for Beyond Good and Evil 2, so yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
But whatever. I think we didn't do Ubisoft too much. Are you done, then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done.
Moving
Okay.
on.
We have Future Game Show.
I got
okay.
nothing. Moving on.
PC Gaming Show.
Okay, I actually have a couple of things I'm expecting. Each year, PC Gaming Show tends to showcase also two things in particular. Ports of console titles that are requested that show up, and PC exclusive titles. So what I'm expecting the most to see this year is Total War Warhammer 3, which Creative Assembly is currently doing for Sega. Most of the game has actually been already leaked, surprisingly enough, but I want to see still a demonstration, from the developer's hands. That we need. As for games that might get a PC port, I'm fine anyway. Just don't do the bullshit that happened with Shenmue 3 and just widely said that it's Epic Games Store exclusive, because that one, time and time again, that didn't fly off enough. But it's pretty much it for me. I'm mostly just expecting Total War Warhammer 3 on that.
With PC Gaming Show, I'm expecting multiple announcements and, of course, PC ports. Because PC Gaming Show is the case where you can see a lot of games come from different companies here and there. Can't promise it'll be exciting. That's not to say that we've had a generally bad history with PC Gaming Shows, but I will admit, they've always been the sort of E3 shows that were always the black sheep, you know what I mean? Yeah, you still watch them, but they were different, they were longer for certain, and...
I think a better analogy, Jova, is meant compared to the other places. PC gaming is essentially just the junk food, It's technically not the most offensive thing ever, it's not the most healthy thing ever, but if you're just for a quick bite, you just consume. I apologize for it to be a food analogy, but I do believe it works.
I'm sure Saber Alter would appreciate that.
Moving on.
We
next
have
one
Warner
is-
Brothers presentation. Let me go first.
Go ahead.
Go on.
Alright. So, last month, I casually tweeted out, how would you feel if Warner Brothers, NetherRealm Studios made a Marvel fighting game. Back in and then the next day, it got industry insider for movies and whatnot, who normally has a hit and miss track record, said that NetherRealm Studios is making a Marvel fighting game.
We'll see about that.
I'm just saying, but there is some truth to this happening. When Mortal Kombat 11 was about to come out, Game Informer asked Ed Boon, "Has Marvel approached you for a fighting game?" And he immediately said yes. The response was, "Really, when?" And then he just realized what he says, like, "I probably shouldn't talk about that right now." Oops. So
now I believe NetherRealm Software is ready to announce whatever we're doing next, because as much as people wanted a bit more content again to keep momentum going after Aftermath, when it comes to MK11, I get the idea that NetherRealm Software and Warner Bros. Are ready to leave that behind and move on to the next thing. Honestly, I believe it still is Injustice free.
Yeah, honestly, here's what I think could be interesting. Injustice free, but a new universe is revealed. And what is that new universe? The Marvel Universe. Like, okay, yes, I know. Okay, so let's be honest. That would definitely generate hype. Look, DC versus Marvel has always been one of the big hype points. It was like, the demand for it was so big that even the comic companies back in the day made comics for it. And technically, DC and Marvel are considered universes within their own rights.
Yes, like we just bother to not mention for rights issue, but they are tongue-in-cheek in referencing the fact that they do exist in some kind of way.
So honestly, though, I mean, if Disney and Warner Brothers can start to put their egos aside and maybe try and do a crossover...
Okay, wait. There's actually... They technically do, because Warner Brothers are the ones who make those Lego games, and they made Lego Avengers.
Remember, and like I keep mentioning, nowadays Warner Bros. Has to pay royalties to Disney to keep the presence of both the Xenomorph and the Predator in MKX.
I mean, that's
not only that,
they have to, so they can collaborate. That's nothing new.
And not only that, but I mean, there was also the presence of Star Wars characters in the Lego movie.
And I assure you that if Disney Infinity didn't come out, and we had and Lego Dimensions was the thing that we were playing since 2013, I assure you that Marvel and Star Wars characters would have been in it.
Well, Monty, have you heard the rumors that supposedly there'll be a Lego Dimensions 2 announced?
Yeah, good luck with that.
No, we just know the fact that Traveler's Tales is probably unchained from the Lego basement for the time being. We'll see what they're gonna do.
They're too busy working on Lego Star Wars. Right.
Yeah, it was supposed to come out recently, but supposedly that's their last major Lego game, and then they'll just reprise doing whatever the fuck they want.
But okay, I'm serious though. Have Marvel characters in a DC fighting game or vice versa. I guarantee you, even if that game is crap, it will print money.
Honestly,
I mean, don't get me wrong.
The major problem with that, Jovah, simply stems from a simple fact. Ever since they're being acquired by Warner Bros., the games that NetherRealm Software managed to put out never consistently managed to have big rosters. Already, the Injustice game struggled to have a decent sized roster. Now you essentially want to cut that in half and put an equally small number of fighters from Marvel. You're gonna get a Marvel versus Capcom situation.
Guilty Gear Strive is launching with what, 12, 16 characters?
Okay, Deji, that's the thing. It's kind of a recurring thing. Even Killer Instinct in Season 1 got released with only a bunch of characters that were from the first game. The
Okay.
cycle is better. The casual audience, aka most people who might be interested just for the hype factor, do not really care about having patience on that, and just say that the game doesn't have enough character in it. And
No. Here's how NetherRealm always have their games sell like hotcakes. They put in a single player mode and like they just put in extra stuff. Because people will buy NetherRealm
Oh, no,
games.
I understand that, Dej, but like I said, if you have a roster that, it's not too big, like, say, to be generals, 30, 35 characters, 36 characters, that still means that if you're having a crossover with Marvel, you have to split the roster in two. And, again, it's probably
most
not going to
likely
have
launch
substantial
with 24
stuff.
characters. If
Oh,
that's the case.
But whatever,
okay.
we're just only speculating for a game that might not even
hold on.
exist.
Hold on. Allow me to launch a few counterpoints. First off, let's assume that they have the development time to actually have a sizable enough roster. I'd say 24 characters, 12 for each one, is a good enough start. Second, unlike something like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which was, the fourth installment, this would be the first time we got an official Marvel vs. DC crossover. Now, don't get me wrong, there are definitely standards to uphold, but it being the first time, people would be a bit more lenient, especially if this could lead into more sequels and whatnot. What I do argue is that they should have a substantial enough amount. And you know what? Go ahead and get in the big crowd pleasers. Like, get in, like, the roster of the Justice League, essentially. Some of the JSA. And Booster Gold and Blue Beetle or whatnot. Meanwhile, with Marvel, the big faces. Get them in there. You can even add in your Captain Marvel, even though I prefer it would be, the actual first female Captain Marvel. I said I would prefer it would be the actual first female Captain Marvel.
Monica Rambeau.
Yeah,
But
Monica Rambeau.
Not just that, Jova. We might still run into a situation where, again, it's just no mutants, only recognizable MCU faces.
Okay. I'd say those days are safely behind, especially given how Marvel actually allowed the mutants to be an Ultimate Alliance free. Like, here's the thing, now that they own them again, of course they'll be fine putting them in.
It's like they never left.
They put the mutants in Fortnite. Yeah. Okay, Boomer.
Back.
Yes.
Regardless.
You can insult me all you want, it will not change how I feel about that game.
Regardless, though. I'll say this. A Marvel and DC crossover fighter being made by NetherRealm.
Yeah.
The chance is there. The chance is absolutely there. The ball is in both their courts. Now, granted, maybe they'll do something to test the waters a bit more.
They're probably going to make a Marvel-only fighting game.
Not to mention, you still have to remember at the end of the day that this is still Warner Bros. Gaming handling potentially the project, which means all the stuff that people did not like about Injustice 2 and MK11 when it comes to customization and DLC practices might be back in full swing.
Hey! At least people will pay attention to this more than the Avengers game.
Well, to be fair, this will probably do a better job garnering people's attention than the Square Enix's Avengers game. But we'll talk about that when we get to the Square Enix section of this game.
But all right, go on.
My big thing with Warner Brothers' presentation is we'll probably get one more look at that upcoming LEGO Star Wars game, which I really hope is the bee's knees with how long it's been taking, because I actually am kind of excited for that.
Do you think we'll see more of the Batman and Suicide Squad games?
I was about to mention, yes, I do believe we'll get a new trailer at least for one of those two projects, if not for both.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
still want to
too.
see how the Suicide Squad video game actually plays like, because I'm
Also,
not really interested in that.
Also, what I'd give for a Superman game.
Sorry,
But,
Jova.
Yeah,
It's the
no,
villain
sorry,
now.
that's not happening.
Right. First appearance of Superman in the Arkhamverse, and he's brainwashed by Brainiac.
One day.
I'm not gonna bother going into my own grievances with the Arkhamverse of late. That is for another time. But my big hope, Marvel DC crossover fighter.
Also, we're probably gonna see more about that Harry Potter game that Avalanche Studio is making.
I keep forgetting that's a thing.
So did we. Don't worry.
I mean, considering everything regarding J.K. Rowling, it's not
Yeah.
a good loss.
Yeah, like what? Apparently,
But
apparently
that's-
one of the developers has a controversial YouTube game, and he was kicked out of the project. YouTube channel.
Huh.
Great.
But
Anyway,
okay, what are you guys' thoughts and predictions for the Warner Bros. Presentation?
I pretty much just said it. Hopefully we'll see something new from Reverend, regardless of what it is. Maybe that trailer for that Lego stuff that you mentioned, and stuff about Harry Potter and the other DC games. If there's something new, like say the new game that the Monolith that is working with Warner Bros. Tied to Lord of the Rings, we'll see. But I'm not entirely sure on that.
All right, one more prediction about the Suicide Squad game. And so just one more as another jab at the Avengers. Do you think that game will have people will talk about that more than the Avengers?
I don't know.
If
It's
okay,
supposed to come.
if-
That's the thing that at this point we don't really know much.
We just know
about
that
the game.
Rocksteady is making it. It's like why
I'll
would
just
you,
say-
why would you have these guys make a shooter after the six
Not only-
Arkham games?
Not only that, but it's going to be a gas game. A games as a
Same thing with
service one.
the Batman game as well. It's like guys.
That said, if they do play, wait, hold on, Suicide Squad. That wasn't a first-person shooter, at least from when
I mean,
Well,
not
you have
for-
to play as Deadshot, so
It's
at
not
least
first.
as a third
It's
person.
it's a shooter game, but not first person. It's,
Okay, considering
Well,
you get
to
to play
be
stuff
fair-
like Harley and King Shark, I doubt that you spend all the time with firearms.
And to be fair, shooters, even if something is genred as a shooter game, doesn't mean you'll spend most of the time shooting. Like something like the Transformers War for Cybertron games.
it's
have quite
a
lot of melee.
team-based shooter game though. Like not like it's more like four guys against fight cooperative shooter.
Sure, but I
Okay,
don't think
so I'll
it's gonna
just
be
say
something
this.
like, say, Left 4 Dead.
Yeah,
If-
no, but it's just like why would you have them make work on a game as a service type of shooter in game? That's kind of
So here's my stance. If Rocksteady play their cards right and actually do a good job maintaining the hype and give people a reason to be excited, then they'll likely be excited. If they end up going down the same route that the Avengers game did and just burning people, probably not.
People wanted them to make. Apparently, they wanted to make a Superman game, but Warner Bros. Said no.
Yeah, and that frustrates me to no
Mhm.
end.
Anyway, we're
Anyway,
getting to
let's move on, please. Next.
Xbox
So-
and Bethesda.
Oh, no.
Teo, look at this, Teo. For the first time, you'll be able to enjoy Bethesda with us without having to rely
As
on
long as I
text.
don't get a woman screaming every 5 minutes, I'm fine. I mean, Todd Howard is always a joy to see with all the bullshit. Okay, here's one prediction that I'm gonna have. We're gonna have the same guy with the glasses that from the other years did show up go on stage and talk about how Elder Scrolls Online is still the most MMO played in the world, even though that's a blatant lie. Like, don't get me wrong, I've seen it for myself. It's a perfectly fine MMO, but every single time Bethesda goes like on stage and like, oh, don't you see, guys, this is still the most played ever, and it's clearly not. It has a decent fan base, but don't get cocky. That's pretty much it. But as for the conference itself, on the Bethesda side, we're probably gonna see Starfield, maybe Elder Scrolls 6, who knows. Deathloop, probably more.
Which
Tokyo
will come out
Wire.
on PS4 first.
Tokyo Wire, the game that is done by Tango. As for anything new, supposedly a leak says there might be talking about the next Wolfenstein game. We'll see. It's a bit too early to talk about the next Doom, to be honest. But that's pretty much it. Maybe a new Evil Within from a side team. Who knows? As for the actual Microsoft side, we're probably gonna talk about Halo Infinite. Probably gonna be the major point.
Give us back Craig, you cowards.
Honestly, I still... Okay, I will be perfectly fine if they do something with it, like an achievement, a cheeky Easter egg, something like that. But I'm we'll see what happens with Halo Infinite. I don't particularly care, at least for the time being.
Yeah, like I said... Oh,
no, go on. Sorry.
Microsoft, out of the big three... Okay, all the big three definitely do have something holding them back. Microsoft's, I'd say, has been the most egregious, though. Like, Sony has the pride issue, Nintendo can sometimes be the dinosaurs, but Microsoft seemed to be desperate to try and reclaim the glory that they had with the 360 era, ever since they shot themselves in the foot, knees, and butts with the initial release of, well, not initial release, but initial reveal of the Xbox One. And honestly, okay, their backwards compatibility and Games Pass stuff aside, they have not really done much to generate hope or hype, really. Like, honestly, the thing that they're most notable for these days is games maybe being able to perform or look the best on their system, which may not even be a factor.
I heard that
with the
PS5 was actually better.
So, yeah, now Microsoft doesn't even have that. So, aside from Games Pass, what do they have? Like, let me put it like this. Microsoft have gotten to the point where they're pretty much in bed with Nintendo, and that Epic Game Store versus Apple court case revealed plans to give Games Pass to Nintendo. Seriously, that court case has been one of the amazing sources
for
of leaks
information
ever.
that would normally not even concern neither parties. It's bizarre.
So much stuff from companies has been leaked.
To be instead on point, what I was mentioning, I'm sure there are other stuff that they're going to talk about, like Forza, of course. Maybe Xenoblade 2, who knows. The game
What a shame, they won't be able to drop a car in for the Forza
the game that I'm mostly interested to see, if it's going to show up, is the new Fable, honestly. Want to see
seriously, that has been...
we only got a teaser.
Secret.
Hmm?
No, we just have a teaser.
Okay, we might, I'm gonna check in the meantime, but basically that's pretty much it for me. That's the game I'm looking forward the most, at least for first party. When it comes to third party, I'm expecting actually Call of Duty to show up in some capacity, because with Sony out of the game, I get the idea that Activision wants to show Call of Duty in some capacity. So,
yeah, it's almost weird that Activision don't have their own show. Granted, maybe
it only happened once, Jovah. It was awful.
Yeah, maybe they still have nightmares of that god-awful E3 affairs. Oh.
There we go. The Fable was announced. Playground Games, I suppose, is the one that's doing the new Fable.
Oh yeah, weren't they the ones who did,
They did something.
that game? By the way, what about that gigantic or epic or... You know, the game where you're shrunk down... Oh, Grounded.
Maybe we'll see
Who
an
did
update
that?
on that. Who knows?
Yeah, so... I know you're interested in that game. How did it turn out?
Fine. Pretty much kind of like Sea of Thieves. I know that it looks like it's like the most underwhelming thing ever, but no, it has a consistent fan base, particularly of streamers, for more casual kind of play.
I wonder if we'll see more about Sea of Thieves as well. Like, okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. With No Man's Sky, when that game finally got good, I heard all about it. With Sea of Thieves, I have not really heard all about whether or not this game has finally become good or the game that was promised in the first place. Like, I wonder, was the crowd really just that lost, or have the additions not really been...
They just did not particularly care of making a fuss about it.
Well, again, that makes me wonder, are the additions just not really that much to write home about?
No, they're just there, Jovah. Maybe it's simple enough. It's simply the fact that not every game, gets attention to hype culture, even for an actual reprise. Like,
well, that's the thing, though. I'm trying to decide whether or not Sea of Thieves is worth plunging into, and honestly,
well, Jovah, simply put, you have YouTube. Like, go look at streamers.
Isn't it a free-to-play game anyway?
No. It's both if I recall correctly, the expansions have been free so far, but I don't know in its entirety. But that's pretty much it from me, both on Bethesda and on Xbox themselves. I doubt we'll see the next Fallout game immediately, because they probably still want to pump out a bit more for 76 for the time being. Yeah, that is more worthy. But hey, if Devolver shows up on stage and tries to sell me Skyrim for the nth time, I'm still gonna be laughing at that.
You do realize that Microsoft's just spent like what, $7 billion just to buy Skyrim?
Very much.
Yeah.
Honestly, the more hilarious thing to me is once again the thing that people mentioned last year, the fact that Obsidian got absorbed by Microsoft probably to get away from Bethesda, and now they're still working together.
Hey, look at the bright side. At least they can make a good Fallout game.
We'll see on that. But
Okay. Guys, Phil Spencer and Todd Howard walk together on stage, center
who can
across
make the
from
most
the camera.
awkward face?
Yeah,
All
like,
right.
seriously.
I'm gonna make a bat crazy prediction.
Okay.
Well, first of all, it's been revealed. It got leaked on the Microsoft storefront that Psychonauts 2 got a release date of August. So that's
good.
True.
Finally getting that.
But the thing is that we haven't seen anything on that game.
Yeah, we have.
Which is.
Well,
we saw that one trailer, but
Yeah.
I don't think we've really seen substantial gameplay footage of it.
I mean, yeah. Well, most likely see something. But
okay,
here's my crazy prediction. You know how Microsoft has still been making a big deal that they're rich and they keep buying companies.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to buy. I'm sorry, Jovah. They're going to wag their dicks out again and be like, "We have bought Sumo Digital." And we also bought Way Forward. They're gonna. That's a dark future.
Okay, let me just point this out. On paper, Microsoft buying these studios could be a good thing. They could provide the studios with more money to give out better products.
Yeah, we're not getting a high-quality Bethesda game that's not Doom, okay? So I need you to relax.
Let me finish. The problem is that history has shown that Microsoft just tend to screw things up when they buy a company.
Mm-hmm.
Like Rare, anyone?
I mean,
Rarest.
Well, okay, so in their defense, Rare was kind of going downhill to begin
Not to
with.
mention that was like more one case of their first major acquisition. You know, like a couple of times in the past, different studios are the one involved with different capabilities and qualities of it, and now the handling from Microsoft is different from the one that was when they acquired Rare, and they handle it. They can still, treat their acquisition poorly, but for different reasons.
That's actually where I was going to go next year. Like, sure, yeah, Rare is just one example. But consistently, whenever they buy up a company, at best, that company continues to exist.
No.
Like,
Minecraft is still doing well. I'm not wrong.
You do know it's Minecraft.
Regardless, it's still doing something. They didn't run that to the ground and made it worse. Especially considering how controversial the creator is, but...
It would take concentrated effort to run Minecraft into the ground. My point is, like, whenever they buy a studio, they don't seem to do much with that studio, or if they do buy a studio and do something with them, we have some silly stuff like, once again, giving us yet again another zombie game, State of Decay 2, which turned out to be lame. Crackdown 3 ended up being lame.
Well, wasn't Crackdown their IP to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, but they apparently had one of the...
Yeah.
Well, yeah. The point was that they had newly acquired studios working on them here and there, and apparently not done well. Granted, maybe that's the studio's own fault, but it seems a little too consistent that when a studio goes into Microsoft, they suddenly don't churn out as good a product as they used to. Now, this isn't to say Microsoft is like Activision or EA, who just seem to be on a slaughtering run to see how many companies they can kill or whatnot. Like, I'll give Microsoft that benefit of the doubt, but that's it. And again, they don't always do the best with them.
I mean, the reason why they bought Ninja Fury was because Bleeding Edge impressed them.
Also, okay, I checked right now. Apparently, the studio who did the State of Decay 1 and 2, now being fully acquired by Microsoft, is said to be working on a third game already. So maybe you will see that.
I guess. But yeah,
Which
with
brings me to
Microsoft-
another question, since we recently commented on it instead. Do you think it's already time we're gonna see Gears 6 already?
No,
or
they
not?
said they said that the game is not going to be there because they're revamping it.
With the Unreal 5.
Revamping it.
Oh
It's-
wait,
it's
what was
something
that other game that Ninja Fury made?
Hellblade.
Yeah,
it's
like,
like- do you
I
think we'll
already
see
just
more?
said that.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Sorry.
but we might see stuff about Hellblade too.
I'll admit, I would at least like to hear about how Gear 6 is going, and if they're going to maybe back things up and tweak the direction a bit, because again, what a shock! People ended up preferring the DLC over the actual main campaign of Gears 5.
But what are your predictions, Tej?
Alright, here's my hopeful prediction. They're gonna, since Banjo-Kazooie are in Smash Brothers, and people know who they are, and people are interested, why don't you try doing something with that IP? Like, I don't know, remake the first 2 games? I'm mad at that 4chan rumor because the name of a remake was so good. It was called Banjo Redooey. I was like, dang it, that's good.
Wasn't that actually one of their original project names for when, Nuts and Bolts was originally going to be a remake of Banjo and Kazooie?
I don't know.
I know that they wanted to
Regardless,
remake
though.
the first game, but I don't think it had a name yet. But either way, just do something with that IP, because it's like you have to
They
go
definitely
through.
do warrant another chance.
Yeah.
Well, my question, Tej, is that if they technically remade 1 and 2, wouldn't that potentially create an effect similar to Yooka-Laylee, in a sense that people might be enthusiastic at first, but when they play, they're like, oh, like this is exactly what they wanted, but they did not realize that.
I
about
feel
the
like
actual
Banjo
gameplay.
can get away with it because of the name alone. Because it's like, it's the same game. That's all people wanted. A remake, a one-to-one remake with some quality of life updates. I'm sure people will be completely fine with it.
Oh, okay. Emphasis on the quality of life updates.
I mean,
to the point
basically,
where-
like the Xbox Live port was like, if you die, you don't lose all your notes. So,
Okay, I'm just gonna say this. I do think that Banjo and Kazooie could have some benefit from name recognition, but they can't rely on it. Like, look, even with Crash Bandicoot, I don't think the remake trilogy would have sold as well if it wasn't as good as it was for the time being. Like, if that remake trilogy had even more egregious issues than it already does have.
it does. They made the jumping worse and the hitbox.
That's hence why I said more than it already does have. There may have been some more blowback here and there. With Banjo and Kazooie, Yuka and Laylee showed that if a remake of Banjo and Kazooie does not address the issues and fix them, it could potentially not sell well.
Yooka-Laylee's problem is that it took inspiration from Okay, I know I haven't played it yet, but every complaint I've heard from Yooka-Laylee can easily apply to Banjo. But the problem with Yuka is that it took more inspirations from Tooie instead of Kazooie.
It's a combination of that and also just the fact that it literally transplanted how it works from there without making any improvements over time here and there. Regardless, though, I personally think that that remake needs to legit be good, and it can't just be, just because it's Banjo and Kazooie, it will sell well. Because
they have the
Nuts
money,
and Bolts
they have the
apparently-
talent. Just do it.
Sure, but just do it, well.
Yes.
Because again, with how companies tend to operate, if X doesn't sell
They'll just
gajillion
put it on Game
dollars here
Pass
and
and
there,
say it's a success.
would they really though? Like
apparently, I think they said Battletoads is a success because it was on the Game Pass. I'm not sure.
regardless.
Anyway, go on.
Anything else, Dutch?
I'm trying to think. It's like, I hope Halo Infinite is good because Halo fans deserve a win.
They do.
Because I know that people did not like 5 at all, and 4 was kind of the beginning of the downfall.
Hey, just just like a Gears of War.
Yeah.
Well, okay, with Gears of War, that was technically Gears of War Judgment, but hey, until the actual Gears 4, Gears of War Judgment was... It was the closest thing to a Gears 4 you could call at the time.
Although the fact that Infinite is going to be a games as a service 10-year plan does make me worry.
Like, I'll be honest, how do they plan to sustain it for 10 years?
The Destiny model.
Also, I already mentioned, Jova, ideally, instead of just making a trilogy, have, the actual story beats being released as expansion packs. Similar to what Destiny and Destiny 2 have applied.
I get the feeling it's going to turn out it would have been much better if they had just made separate games. But hey, maybe for once they can make the games as a service model work. Like, the games as a service model is not inherently poison. It's just that it's a term that's associated with a lot of terrible failures. Like, the amount of games as a service games that have actually worked out, I can count on the two of my hands, as far as I know. Otherwise, games as a service has been a sign of trouble.
Anyway, we're done on Microsoft and Bethesda. Okay, next.
Square. Alright, let's make this quick. Alright, they'll probably reshow the Dragon Quest III remake. Neat. Okay, Final Fantasy VII Integral. Neat. What else? Avengers. Okay. No.
We already mentioned we're seeing the Avengers video game, specifically the expansion of Wakanda and Black Panther.
Life is Strange.
Eidos Montreal supposedly has a new game. Leaker suggests that it might be titled Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
See what happens.
We might also
we have finally an update on Babylon's Fall. That is pretty neat.
Okay. I want to spend a couple minutes on this. I hope that game is good, because from what I saw, it just looks like every other Platinum title. So I want to see what makes this stand out from Platinum.
We'll probably get to hear more about Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah, I was about to mention, probably either a new trailer or, talking about it. But I'm expecting at least 1 or 2 surprises of some kind. I don't just
Kingdom Hearts.
Okay, the timing.
We really?
The timing might be right for a new title announcement, but I'm not completely
sure. just a teaser. I'm fine with it.
You also have to remember the always present clause that it's pending on Square. They kind of have to release some kind of game every year.
Which, honestly, those kinds of contracts never sit right with me.
It's granted,
sure, they could technically fall back on something that's technically a port or remaster, but all the same, it just seems to be asking for trouble when you do something like that. Assassin's Creed did it, and look at this, we're now at a period where people are sick of Assassin's Creed games, and Assassin's Creed games have not come out for a while.
Square has managed to circumvent that with re-releases. They basically say, the game of the year, the game of that year is the release. So it wouldn't be too surprising if one thing that they do is to port the already PC version that are on the EGS on Steam by the end of the year, though it might be a bit too soon.
Here's another prediction. Maybe we'll get news on Part 2 of the 7 remake.
Okay, we might. Nomura did wanted to mention something, but Kitase did ask him to just shut up and tell only in a broader sense, because they want to have a proper trailer release. So it wouldn't be too far-fetched, at least we're talking about it now at E3. But I can definitely without it. Regardless, this is one of the 2 conferences I'm more interested in this year, for a different variety of reasons. And like I said, I'm expecting 1 or 2 things completely new that are not being programmed. Maybe a couple of more ports of old titles. It would be a real shame if they decided to apply the Legend of Mana Effect to Xenogears, because I busted my fucking ass recording that game for the past 3 months.
Wouldn't it be
I will laugh.
Almost 69 parts, nice, but...
Can you imagine if they do just that and it turns out it's the new actual definitive version?
And then you'll have to cancel everything.
Okay. Here's what we'll do. We'll just do what we did with Final Fantasy VII. We'll still record the original, but we'll do a commentary for the remake
But I'm
later
mostly
on.
just jesting, and I do not think she should discourage Square of,
Oh my God.
continuing their ports, because again, so far they're on a very good track record both for Mana and Saga. So if they apply that concept to some of their other IPs, like again Einhander, for example, Brave Fencer Musashi, Tobal,
Yes.
and similar, the better
Mischief
will be.
Makers!
Also,
Although
Live Alive maybe, but that's
Although
again just
Teo-
speculation.
It's funny, Tia. What you mentioned does remind me about how well-timed our Final Fantasy VII original game commentary was. Because in the course of that commentary, we got announced not only the 7 remake, and Cloud in Smash Brothers. Holy cow, talk about good timing. But, Square for me are... they're not entirely the wild card. I'm willing to give them the benefit of a doubt that they'll give a good show. They definitely have come quite a long way from that embarrassing 2015 show, which, I kid you not, dudes, had a whole segment dedicated to trivia.
I was there. I mean, not with you, but I watched that. I was bored. The only highlight was Kingdom Hearts 3.
And the Nier Automata
Oh,
stuff.
I did not
Those
get
stuff. I think Automata will be released at the point, but it was like 15 minutes. A couple of things had already been shown in our conferences, and there was the Quiet Man involved. Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. The Quiet Man, that was their 2018 show.
Yeah, that's the one I'm referring to.
Oh, okay, I was talking about the 2015 one, but... Oh, yeah, remember how we initially thought that the Quiet Man was going to be the Avengers project until it turned out, oh, there are no Avengers here. I remember when we were hyped for the Avengers project.
That's pretty much it, honestly.
But yeah, Square, I feel they will put on a good show.
And I have one more prediction. Alright, so they normally seem to be re-releasing some of their older titles. Maybe it's time that they re-release Chrono Trigger on Switch.
Okay, what Pedro said, Pedro did mention this in the past, off and on commentary. The PC version right now is the definitive version of the game. That
doesn't mean anything. Square wants money. They can just port. They want to port their games on everything.
This is what I mean. I get the idea that if an answer gets to be made, it might be that version just ported on consoles. Yet remember, that Square can be just a bit bizarre in how they handle the distribution of their re-releases. For example, Last Remnant, when it got the remaster, it got only for PS4, then later on the Switch, while the original version on Steam got delisted and the remastered version has not showed up yet. So I don't know how that thing works. But still, I get your point.
That's Square Enix taken care of. Next up is the company that'll take you for a ride.
Okay, Jovah's favorite company of all time.
Like I've said, love-hate relationship with them. It literally feels like every time they do something amazing or great, it's gonna be followed up by something dumb and stupid or enraging.
So this it might be soon, but do you think we might get a teaser of their RE4 remake?
No. Okay.
I could see that happening.
We're
actually,
definitely getting a section dedicated to Monster Hunter in some capacity.
Yes.
Rise and Stories. Well, the Stories has to be releasing in the near future. Forgot about Rise, but we're probably going to talk about that.
I could definitely see us getting a look at the Resident Evil 4 remake, and we all know it's coming thanks to that ginormous leak from Capcom.
The thing is that Resident Evil 8 has just been released, and I get the idea we want to talk about the DLC planning on that game. So
I think it depends on what kind of DLC they're planning for Resident Evil 8. Like, are they planning a substantial story chapter DLC?
That's the thing, Jova. It seems to be a consistent thing in how they handle with both the Remake 2 and 7. Not so much with 3 for some reason, mostly because they want to put on the multiplayer on that. But for the previous two, a set of small, bite-sized mini campaigns, that together constitute a bigger, environment. So maybe something like that.
Is it okay if we talk spoilers here to discuss what those kinds of mini?
actual Lady
No,
Dimitrescu
no,
simulator,
no,
the
no,
dating
no,
simulator.
no. This video is long enough as it
Yes.
is. I do not want this to drag.
But that's pretty much it for me. I think we're going to talk about Resident Evil in Stock Capacity, probably DLC for 8. I think we're going to talk about Monster Hunter. I'm not sure if we're going to announce anything new.
You think we'll see probably something for DMC6?
Nah, too early. Maybe.
Well, okay. That
I'm not
depends.
expecting
Where are
even
we
an announcement
standing?
of a new game for them, to be honest.
That depends. Like, wasn't Virgil released last year? So
The special
technically-
edition was for the launch of a PS5, and yes.
So in that case, maybe it could be time to announce Devil May Cry 6, unless you think that they may have something else planned
Dragon's
for
Dogma
DMC5.
So the leak suggests Dragon's Dogma 2 first.
What was
but,
that other game that was shown off on the PS5
a
unveiling?
new Power Stone.
No, not
for
Power
some
Stone.
reason.
The one about the astronaut and there's this little girl and they were on the
True,
moon.
there is the one they did announce last year.
Yes,
The weird-
maybe we'll see that.
That said, though, yeah, that is a good point, though. Maybe we'll see that Power Stone game announced, or maybe we'll see Street Fighter 6.
No, we haven't still finished with the plans of Street Fighter 5.
Until Street Fighter 5 is done.
And
However,
we know when to...
Wait,
And
it's
we-
not done
no,
already?
not all the characters are revealed. And they
This pack
still
is
are.
finishing, I think, this year's November. December or
However,
something.
I do have a speculation, and Jovah,
Yeah.
it's probably going to be a Capcom versus title. And now, before you say no, the voice actor for V from Devil May Cry 5, he did talk about, oh, I'm so excited for the next Capcom versus game, and everyone was like, what the hell are you tweeting? That everyone caught wind
It's
of
funny
it.
because, Ruben Langdon and the others that work on
Johnny
the
Young
had a
Bosch.
pet. Johnny Young Bosch and Virgil's voice actor, I keep forgetting, the other Power Ranger, the
Eric,
Quantum
the
Red
Quantum Ranger. Dan Southworth.
The Dan Southworth. They did kind of have a tendency of leaking potentially
Yeah,
stuff.
Devil May Cry voice actors have a habit of accidentally leaking stuff, so I'm expecting a new Capcom versus title. It might not be shown off at E3, it'll probably be shown off at
Okay.
EVO.
So, Dej, I need you to specify. When you say Capcom versus, do you mean like Capcom versus itself, or Capcom versus another company?
We don't know. It's just it's a versus title. That's all we know.
Anyway, it's a shame the big leak didn't mention a Capcom versus.
To be fair, Jova, for all we know, there is stuff that the leak did not include.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just that As speaking of stuff from the leak, I would not be surprised if we at least got the hintings of Ace Attorney 7. They'll probably also remind us that Great Ace Attorney is coming, and physical too, to the States as well. Again, I just love the irony that the first Ace Attorney game to come physically to the West in so long is a localization of the game that almost no one thought was going to make it outside of Japan.
I thought it was going to
it's
make
kind
it. I don't know what you're talking
Oh,
about.
me
I did.
Oh yeah, me
to be honest.
Me too. I never lost hope. And trust me, it was tough all them years. I truly believe that it was just a matter of Capcom eventually working out the rights issues. Though, given how they did work out the rights issues, I'm kind of left to wonder, why didn't you think of this ages ago? It's technically been done before with Maurice LeBlanc.
Anyway,
Regardless.
Do you think Mega Man? You think we got something Mega Man related?
Honestly, Capcom are such a wild
It's the
card.
20th anniversary of
just-
Battle Network.
So, again, Capcom have not always treated Mega Man the best. And yeah, they've gotten
Says the Ace
better.
Attorney fan.
Still not the best.
to be fair, it has been a bit since the release of the Zero Collection.
So I'm expecting a Battle Network
is
collection
possible.
or a localization of Rockman X Dive, because apparently there have been some Steam listings of that coming to the West. Listen. So.
For a moment I thought you were going to suggest a localization of the Mega Man Battle Network and Star Force crossover.
Yeah, probably not. I know they have plans for Battle Network.
Anyway, that depends. It could. Okay, definitely could see a re-release compilation or whatnot, depending on how they're gonna do the different versions. Stick thing. What I'd give for Star Force to get some stuff hey, how about releasing that first Star Force game that you were gonna do? But We can't have nice things. It would be nice, though.
We can't have
I would
nice
very-
things, he says as he gets giddy over the localization of Ace Attorney theology.
Look, I mean, that's the thing. Capcom, I'm not going to act like Capcom treated Ace Attorney spotless either. We did have that very dark era of Ace Attorney. But they have not screwed over Ace Attorney nearly as much as they screwed over Mega Man, which even you have pointed out to me.
Actually, I did. But whatever.
I'm referring to how Deji has constantly stated that Mega Man fans had it worse than Ace Attorney fans.
And they have. Know your
Ace
place,
Attorney
sit in your table, and eat your chicken.
Let's just agree it was bad for both. Regardless, though, I could see them possibly announcing Ace Attorney 7 there. Sure, it would go very well if Phoenix Wright were announced in Smash as well.
Well, we'll save it next. We'll save it for Nintendo next. Take-Two presentation. I have no expectations besides that Avengers XCOM game that got announced, that got leaked by Jeff.
Also,
Grubb
wrestling. I don't care either. Going on.
2K, ever since that
Look.
wrestling
The
game-
only thing I want to see happen is Randy Pitchfork gets fired on stage.
Okay, you know what? That would actually make it
that
worth
is
a live
epic.
commentary. So yeah, Take-Two, 2K, do better. Oh, maybe they'll do something with BioShock?
Maybe we'll show something tied to their Take-Two division that
Come to
includes
think of
stuff like from Rockstar. So maybe something GTA
now-
related.
Well, now that I think about it, wasn't it rumored that there would be a new BioShock project or something?
Supposedly, we'll see. But again, like I said, I don't really care. Next company,
Next.
please.
Limited run game, so I'm expecting physical releases of stuff.
Nothing new in terms of actual new game announcement, just actual physical releases. Which will,
I mean, they'll probably.
it's a nice
for
effort.
physical releases of games are upcoming or haven't been out yet. Maybe they'll have a physical release of the Contra collection.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Anything
what was
else?
the other one that they released besides Castlevania and Contra that Konami did? The shooting game Galaga? Is that it? No.
Gradius.
Gradius, yeah. Maybe we'll get a Gradius physical collection as well.
Anyway, next company.
Bandai Namco.
Okay, Tekken 7 DLC, maybe something for Soul Calibur 6 DLC.
I think
Tales
Soul
of
Calibur
New
6 has all of
Digimon
its
game.
DLC.
Yeah, Digimon Survive.
Tales of Arise is about to be released, so we don't really have a new trailer. Maybe something new for Scarlet Nexus.
Yeah.
Other stuff it's licensed, like say Dragon Ball, maybe Bleach. I don't know. We'll see. Probably their entire stuff titled their licensed division when it comes to anime. But I'm not expecting too much new material.
So, just gonna ask, are we going to bother and try and predict the EA Play stuff
No.
up in July, or
No.
are we just gonna end it with...
No.
Who
they
cares?
just-
Okay, then.
No, Jova.
Okay.
It's almost 2 hours. No.
No, Dead says this. I'm agreeing with you. So I was saying, in that case, let's move on to what's the finale.
Oh
Not
wait.
counting
I
the
also
E3.
have one more prediction for Bandai Namco. The Klonoa Encore thing. That got list. There was a listing for that.
There's a listing for loads of things.
Yeah, but it's like it got a rating, so it's gonna happen. We're just waiting for the announcement.
So what is that? Like a re-release compilation?
I
or
think it's
new?
just gonna be a re-release of either the first game. We don't know if it's going to be the Wii
Probably
port
the Wii
or
version.
the PS1 version.
So,
Actually, okay, speaking briefly for a company that doesn't have actually a conference, what do you think Sega might be talking
maybe
to?
we'll finally get. There was also a listing for Super Monkey Ball.
Okay.
So maybe
I
it'll
would
be a
like-
collection of the first 2 games.
I would very much like to see something them doing with Knights, which could potentially show up at the Nintendo show, because Knight's Journey of Dreams was a Wii
Also,
exclusive.
to mention quickly before we actually get to Nintendo, one particular company that is tied to Summer Game Fest that we didn't talk about because of it, but I know to talk about
Oh,
it briefly.
Sega, that's right. The orchestra
No,
thing.
is Riot Games. I'm mostly expecting news regarding the 2 single-player adventure games based on League of Legends lore. But that's pretty much it. Alright.
Yeah, I do think we may get some news on Sonic Rangers. Not putting that in solid concrete.
Here's my prediction. They'll just show us the name. Because they haven't uploaded that trailer on their YouTube channel.
That might be it. Especially because I get the idea that they want to save more information tied exclusively to Sonic for another of those Sonic Presents.
Like the Minecraft.
Anyway, let's get on with the last turkey on the table.
The big one. Yeah, Nintendo once again continue their tradition of being essentially the last big show. This is not counting Nintendo Treehouse Live or the E3 awards show, but Nintendo are going to be the one to end it.
We have 40 minutes of this. We know that Smash is probably going to be present, probably the first thing we're going to deal with. So let's try to get this out of the way first.
Okay, let's ask the question. 1. Do you think that they will do what a lot of people are predicting and do the double whammy, ending the Fighter's Pass? 2. Do you think that the rumors of that bonus slot are going to come to fruition with a bonus fighter? And 3. Will they announce a third Fighter's Pass?
No, and no. Simple as that.
Yes.
At least that's what I believe.
Yes. No. Yes.
So you think there'll be a third Fighter's Pass too, Deds? Nice.
Look, I would believe under normal circumstances just because it still prints money, but Sakurai just needs a fucking break, man.
He's not the only video game developer that needs a break.
Here's the thing, Teo. Sakurai is his own worst enemy. He does need a break, but he has also constantly admitted that he can't seem to fathom letting his baby that is Smash go into other hands. Okay, don't get me wrong, I get it. It is a team effort, and Sakurai is not the sole guy in the trenches working on it, but a lot of people do affiliate him with Smash, and for good reason. Smash would not be the way it is without a mad genius like Sakurai here. Like, again, could you see any regular developer pulling off the miracle that is Smash Ultimate's initial roster?
Yes, because you want to know why? Because it's backed by Nintendo and they have the money.
True. But Sakurai has gone on about how he had to really convince the higher-ups of Nintendo to follow through with this. Like, you remember, he's mentioned he was met with deathly silence when he proposed the idea of bringing back every fighter, and getting them all back was not an easy task. Like, it's not just a matter of it, but I do think it did come to him having to come up with that idea.
Not to mention he still had to take compromises on different levels, like, say, some music rights, for example, also stuff that he could show, like poor Maishi, really. But let's get this. Okay, one big reason I don't believe we're gonna have the double whammy is simply put because I'm running on the assumption that the last fighter is the be-all end-all of all.
Is it Goku?
Sakurai wants to end probably with a bang of some kind, and I get the idea that just stacking just the name reveal at the very end, or even a simple trailer, might not be worthy of it. So instead, Nintendo also wants to probably hype them up with a separate Smash Direct when the time will come. Of course, here we're gonna get instead the announcement of this one, the penultimate one.
You do have to give them credit. They have managed to keep the whole Smash thing pretty much locked down in regards to leaks. Either the leakers have been a lot more wary, or Nintendo are doing a much better job with this Fighter's Pass keeping stuff secret, because
frankly, I'm more remembered, considering this is summer. I still remember the time when Smash 3DS was a thing, where the last couple of fighters had not been announced, and there was the actual leak with the full complete roster, and everybody did not believe it. And
it's just a Photoshop little Mac.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move on from the Smash song, please.
Let's run with the assumption that they're going to just reveal one fighter.
All right.
Who?
Oh my god. We already made a predictions video, so let's Jovah.
I actually didn't.
Yeah, just give it to Teo.
To be fair, Well, to be fair, Dad, our predictions may have changed over time.
Okay,
as well.
Jovah, I strongly not believing that you might have dropped Phoenix right from the pedestal.
Oh, obviously I didn't drop him, but
Ratchet
yeah,
and
I
Clank.
have actually.
That's my prediction.
Oh my god. Okay,
Look. What?
Look.
Go.
My patience has already been tested enough with some of these choices for the Spider Pass. I really just stick with something that at least has some closure with Nintendo. Is that really that hard to ask?
You're telling me that you would not flip if we got Nintendo, PlayStation, and Microsoft in a game together?
No, because that's really low level tier when it comes to casual crossover.
Okay, fine. You go first, and I'll come up with someone else.
Okay, most of the elements of my actual wish list either
You choose one character.
No, I was about to mention either got in or became relegated to assist trophies. Normally would have put something else here, but I'm not entirely sure that he might show up.
You have two, so I'll give you that.
Okay, normally would have put the Doom Marine, and I still would want it, but the more time passes, the more I get the idea that it might not be. Not so much for the firearms, but Microsoft technically has 2 ramps already. I'm not entirely sure. Doom is famous in Japan, mind you. So instead I'm relying on the last thing that has remained essentially from my wish list, Ryu Hayabusa. I mean, if you can...
It's been a surprisingly popular talk amongst...
Ninja Gaiden is a cornerstone of the NES. It was the game, one of the first games who introduced dynamic cutscenes and everything. And Ryu Hayabusa as a protagonist is fairly popular without being fanservice due to the stigma that is attached to Dead or Alive. So it's kind of the perfect choice to be put in a game like this. And hey, the game kind of is lacking a ninja, so why not? But that's pretty much it on that front.
So, Dej, what's your stance with believing that we will get a fair Fighters Pass?
I don't care. No, just answer who you want to see, please. I have a lot of editing to do. Please, no, sorry.
I want to see Phoenix Wright, but I'm also okay with Shantae, Master Chief, Eggman, Knights, or Crash, or Undyne or Frisk.
What about you, Dej?
Okay. I'll be honest, I was not expecting anybody, so I'm just going to say Gen 8 Pokemon.
Yeah,
no, Fortnite character.
Oh my god. Okay, at the very least that game is on Nintendo, so at least there is a bit of a tenet, but the stigma of the Gen 8 Pokemon is very real, so we have to potentially be prepared for it. But whatever, Smash is done. What else is Nintendo gonna be talking about?
Possibly, Splatoon 3.
Splatoon 3 probably will get at least some news of some kind. Same for the Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel. We'll probably get to know more about it.
Pokemon Legends, which looks like it's trying to do its best Breath of the Wild cosplay going off of that cover art.
I doubt a bit, because Nintendo did talk about it recently in the news, and we probably want to save another Pokemon Direct for another time.
Yeah, their Pokemon presentation will happen before Nintendo's E3. We'll get a brief mention on Shining Diamond, Brilliant Pearl.
We'll probably get a mini montage of new indies and ports, similar to stuff that we did get in the previous Direct.
Now, for as much as a pipe dream as it may be, new F-Zero game. Consider this. Smash Ultimate showed us a new look at Luigi's new vacuum cleaner device for Luigi's Mansion 3. So that new thing did come to fruition. One thing people have pointed out is that in the World of Light the World of Light opening cutscene, Captain Falcon does have a new design for the Blue Falcon. Why would they do that? They could have just brought back the classic one. I'm not saying it's set in stone, but given the precedent with Luigi, I do feel like there's legit a chance that Nintendo has finally
It's a bit all over the place, Jovah, because Wolf, for example, has a complete new costume that is loosely based on how it looks in Star Fox Zero, but it's mostly composed by new elements altogether.
Well, yeah, okay. When it comes to Wolf, they acknowledged where that came from, and stuff. So we already knew. When it comes to Luigi's new device, It was the question everyone was asking, but no answer was given, in hindsight for obvious reasons. So,
Speaking
I'm
of
willing to
Wii
believe
U
that a new
stuff,
F-Zero game is at the very least possible.
I'm getting the idea we might get a reveal of another Wii U port to the Switch.
They don't announce Wii U ports at E3.
Okay, I swear
sure?
Yes.
there was something.
I feel like there was something, but okay, also guys, consider this. If Detective Famicom Club could come back from the dead the way it did, F-Zero has a shot as well.
Okay, anyway, what I was mentioning in Deji is that I get the idea we might get an announcement of a Switch version for Xenoblade Chronicles X. It's been already a year since the release of the first game Definitive Edition. So the timing might be right for that too.
If we get a Switch port of that, it's not going to be announced at E3. That's my speculation. I think Monosoft is working on a new game, though.
I'm not sure what kind of third party we will see. Like I mentioned, speculated beginning, maybe Crash. Who knows? But
okay, Crash 4 already came to Switch, so
it would be nice to see what the Next Level Games is doing, because it's been a while since Luigi Mansion 3. Maybe we are working on a new thing.
Well,
now
they
we're
were recently bought by Nintendo. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But I do believe that there is one big reveal that something that we don't know, and it might be Koizumi's new game. It's been actually a long while, so something might be added on that front, particularly since new Mario 3D World plus Bowser Fury has been released for a bit, and Koizumi doesn't just stay put. So maybe we finally will get a glimpse of their new Mario game.
Their speculation is that they're working on a new Donkey Kong game. But that's been
true.
The talk.
That is true. This is also like
the
Donkey
40th
anniversary, so there might be something like that. But the big two, Metroid Prime 4 and Bayonetta 3.
Okay, I'm gonna let you know. Do not expect Prime 4. Expect that next year, because they reset development in 2019, and it's like, yeah, they were to work on it last year, but because again I've mentioned at 2 hours ago that we're seeing the effects of COVID. Yeah, so I am not expecting.
Speaking of which, supposedly there are the rumors they're gonna use that space to announce the Switch Pro model.
I think they're gonna announce that before or during their or after E3.
We'll see what's attached.
Okay. If it was not going to be a part of E3, I would predict before, so that then they could, showcase which will be more powerful. Oh, that said, though, if the Switch Pro is announced before their E3 showing, we could see a lot of ports of more high-definition games that, ironically, originally couldn't come to the Switch, but now can come to
we'll see how it happens, because Nintendo has a bit of a tradition of having the Pro version of their hardware to not receive much exclusives onto it. Now, for example...
No. My point is this, though. With the Switch Pro, Nintendo, and especially at those leaked specs or anything to go off of, Nintendo would be able to essentially take a lot of stuff that's on the PS4, Xbox One, heck, even stuff from this current gen, just have it be slightly downscaled, and boom, it can go on the Switch Pro without latency issues. Again, if that leak is anything to go off of, and given that it was from a manufacturer, it more or less looks like it's going to be that. And it's apparently boasting the capabilities of 4K, which is a wide range. So, in that case, if the Switch Pro were announced beforehand, and all that stuff turns out to be true, then you could see stuff like your Resident Evil 8, your Resident Evil 2 remakes, all the stuff previously unavailable to it can now come to the Switch, the Pro version.
But
instead.
That's pretty much it, at least from me. That's generally what I'm expecting. This is the other major conference I'm more interested in, but it can go anywhere.
Okay, what about you, Jovah? What are your predictions?
When it comes to Nintendo and 40 minutes, okay, Nintendo are the best at managing to squeeze substantial information into so much as bite-sized direct. So 40 minutes is like the equivalent of 3 hours for some companies here and there. So I'm hoping for a new F-Zero game. Definitely expecting Smash reveals. Hoping for a third Fighter's Pass to be revealed. Splatoon free news, I expect will be there. Assuming the Switch Pro is a part of the show or announced before it, then I'm expecting announcements of ports for games that originally could not come to the Switch, now being able to come thanks to the capabilities of a Switch Pro. If there is a new Crash project, maybe like a Crash Twinsanity remake or reimagining or something, or heck, maybe not Twinsanity, but a reimagining of Twinsanity which just happens to have a different name because, well, maybe it'll turn out to feel like a different game with it being fully complete. And if they're trying to set it in the same timeline or universe as Crash 4, that still isn't quite clear where
this year is Crash's 25th anniversary, so I'm expecting Activision to do something. Either that or just give us Spyro 4, screw you.
The main thing a lot of people are worried about is the fact that Crash 4 didn't sell as well as the trilogy.
Actually, it did. Crash 4 and Tony Hawk Pro Skater were a major profit for Activision.
Well, yes, but did they sell as well as the trilogy?
It's what helped.
No,
no, as well as the trilogy, no, but at the same time, different circumstances. But saying that the trilogy was out for 2 years for a while, and it sold 10 million copies.
Isn't it like in the 17 million range at this point?
Who gives a shit? Sure. Why?
Regardless, the fear people do have is that history has shown that when something doesn't sell bigger and better than the last game, Activision might do something stupid. I'm not saying it's set in stone, but I never give Activision the benefit of a doubt. They have not earned the benefit of a doubt. I will consider it a miracle if they continue with Crash still. It will be a welcome miracle. Just saying, be careful around Activision. Regardless, though, I think that if we are getting Crash Twinsanity, it might be under a different name. Hence, technically, while Hexling would not be breaking NDA saying that it's not Twinsanity, if, well, that's really the case. It's Twinsanity, but it's so different that it's sort of a different game, and, it's set in the universe of Crash 4, which pretty much tries to pretend like anything past Crash 3 didn't exist.
Any other predictions you got?
Let's see, I mentioned maybe a new Mario Kart game?
Oh my god, please.
I mean, we're definitely due for that.
8 is 7 years old.
Yeah, I'd say the time is there for a new Mario Kart game. They definitely have had plenty of time to soak in the feedback and see how the competition is doing.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I could see them releasing a new Mario Kart game. And maybe us getting news of what the future holds for the Mario franchise. Man, I'm surprised by the amount of people who are expecting a new Mario game announcement. But if we're going off of the mentality that 3D World was essentially just housing Bowser's Fury as a taste of what we could get in the future, I could see them maybe being able to announce the new Mario game, especially if they had like 2 teams working side by side on each of the projects. So, who knows? Maybe a new Mario project. Star Fox. It's been long enough, but I'm not holding my breath. Maybe we'll get a look at Pikmin 4.
Okay, so do I have to send you alcohol to your house as well? Do you drink?
A what now?
Wait, do you drink alcohol?
No,
Smart boy. Good.
Boring.
Silence, boomer.
Hey, Teo. One of us didn't end up with a crashing headache after the Fairy Fencer F finale.
It's worth it.
I wonder if your liver agreed with you.
You eventually end up enjoying the pain, Jovah.
Goodness gracious. But regardless, yeah, with Nintendo, I expect a good show. Nintendo they haven't always been spotless with their E3 shows, but in the past few years, I've always left very content at the very least with a Nintendo E3 showing. Especially with 2018. Holy cow. Okay, those are my predictions.
Right.
Dead.
A 2D Metroid game. Mercury Steam has been quiet for a while. I know that they're publishing a new game by 505 or something like that.
Do you think it'll be a brand new 2D game or a remake of one of the games?
A brand new 2D game. That's probably a follow-up to the cliffhanger with Samus Returns, expanding upon the Chozo lore. Or they'll make...
Wait. Dead. Samus Returns literally leads into
there are some
Super Metroid.
There are some steals video on launch which showcases some of the backstory with Chozos.
Yeah.
And looks like there was a split faction.
Yeah, so I'm expecting the next game in the timeline to delve into that one.
You know what I'd like to see? A game that goes beyond Metroid.
Yeah. That's what I'm expecting. It'll take place after Fusion, where you'll have to deal with the Chozo stuff and also the Galactic Federation because she's a fugitive.
And again, I can't wait to see how they're gonna bring Ridley back from the dead again.
Who cares? They'll find a way.
And you know what? I love him for that. Death doesn't keep the god of death down.
Yeah.
Alright, what else, Deji?
ARMS 2.
Sure,
They
why
put
not?
Min in Smash.
Honestly,
I feel...
Okay. Despite what a lot of people say, it's not like ARMS was even a financial
Yeah,
failure.
I don't know why people keep saying it's like, oh, it didn't do Splatoon numbers. Okay, and it's a 3D fighting game. First of all, that's a niche genre, and the fact that it even sold as well... Believe it or not, it was the best-selling fighting game in Japan at launch.
I can believe that.
People say, oh, Grand Blue Fantasy beat it in its first week. No, ARMS outsold it in its first week. So,
the stage is definitely set for an ARMS sequel. Obviously, they need to definitely give it improvements, though, because while the first one did sell well, second one will not sell that well if they blatantly repeat the same errors. That being
just
way too small a roster, no story mode, and definitely do a better job incorporating the lore into the actual game.
The online was great though. It's probably the best Nintendo online game, which is crazy. But
that just reminded me.
No, we're not. If we're getting a Nintendo online thing, that's direct. We're not. They never show that stuff at E3.
I was referring to there possibly being an Overwatch 2 announcement or whatnot.
Who cares?
No, really
oh my god, Tracer Overwatch for Smash Crash.
Okay, if you want to have an Overwatch character, pick someone fun like John Cracked.
Who?
Exactly.
Oh, right, that guy.
We're done.
Oh, right,
we're done here.
Anyway, anything else for your predictions, Dave?
New Kirby game. It's probably time that the series goes into 3D.
Again?
A fully 3D game.
Huh.
You know?
Could be interesting. Will they do it?
Yeah, I believe so, because Robobot had that game that was called, the sub-game called Blowout Blast, and they also released a 3D game called Kirby Battle Royale, so I believe they're testing the waters. And next year is the 30th anniversary, so they could probably just say, yeah, we're working on it, we're making a new 3D Kirby game, and they said we're into the next phase of the franchise, so that's that.
Lots of surprise me that Sakurai's actually involved in the development of that new Kirby game.
Honestly,
Kid Icarus.
Honestly, this might be rude, but I feel like Kirby got better after he left with Superstar.
I won't argue with you on that.
With Superstar Ultra, so that's why I'm like, if he leaves Smash, who knows? Maybe if they have someone as strong as a mindset as him, it'll probably be just as good, if not better.
That actually does remind me of one other prediction I had. Kid Icarus Switchport. Kid Icarus Uprising.
Yeah, I would like that. I would love to play Kid Icarus Uprising with a normal control string.
Without breaking my wrist.
Yeah. And I won't have to insult Stricker every day. Speaking of, let me just text them and say F you.
Anyway, have we done?
I'm expecting Donkey Kong and whatnot. But besides,
Oh, yeah, that's right, because Retro are doing something.
well, they're working on Prime 4.
Mm-hmm.
Bayonetta 3, I want to believe, but I don't know.
Man, there's
Wasn't
again.
there-
We just saw one single small teaser that gave awards and really nothing.
I like to
How-
believe Devil May Cry 5's announcement made them rethink how things should go with Bayonetta.
Guys, not to be too apt, but how fitting is it that the one teaser we've seen of Bayonetta 3 is Bayonetta apparently crumbling into dust, apparently.
Yeah.
And that's the last we've seen of her, technically.
Anyway, that's it.
That's it.
Alright,
That's all,
It's been
folks.
2 hours. I said this won't be less than an hour. I forgot who I invited. Whoops.
Look, Deads. Rule number 1 of podcasts, they're gonna be longer than actual commentaries. For obvious reasons.
Anyway, stay tuned for the actual E3 conferences.
Alright, bye.